Well, hey YouTube, and today I wanted to do a basic video on 45 ACP. There's a lot of different calibers out there that people do use in their guns, but for proven effectiveness and for stopping power and overall availability of various different amounts of cartridges out there, I would have to say 45 ACP. 9mm aren't bad either, but 45 ACP has got a lot going for it. It was a wartime cartridge, and just to do just the amount of bullets available for it. And I wanted to go through a few commonly available rounds here and give you some specifications on them and maybe some duty uses you would use these guns and these bullets. Okay, I have a few different rounds here, and I will go through them. And we're going to start from the left over here and move over to the right. And let me start with the first cartridge here. The first one's the Winchester round nose 230 grain bullet. Okay, this is a round nose 230 grain standard ball ammunition. Okay, this basic bullet here at the muzzle is giving you 356 foot-pounds of energy. Okay, so anything under 300, we're going to put it down. Okay, so that's 356 foot-pounds of energy out of the muzzle. The next one is the Remington UMC hollow point. You can see that's a hollow point jacketed bullet. It's Remington UMC. This particular bullet, 230 grain hollow point, is giving you 356 foot-pounds of energy also. So both of these, the Winchester ball ammo and the UMC hollow point, are giving 356 foot-pounds of energy. The next one we move into is the Winchester, and this is the Ranger T Law Enforcement. Okay, 230 grain jacketed hollow point. Okay, I believe that's a nickel. This has a nickel case on it. Okay, and I kind of like that because it doesn't really. A few of them do have nickel cases on. I like it because it doesn't stain. Now that particular bullet, the Ranger T Law Enforcement 230 grain. It's not a plus P. It's going at 400. So we're going to leave them up here in 400. Okay. Well, what basically we're going to do is just move these down a little. Okay, I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Let's just put them together. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move the 300s down, and then if we get to anything higher than 400, we're going to put them up, and we'll discuss those. Okay, so these are the Remington and a Winchester. They both have 356 foot-pounds of energy coming out of the barrel. Well, this one is a Ranger T, and it's giving you 400 foot-pounds of energy. Okay, coming out of the muzzle. The next one is the Hornady, and this is a Hornady 200 grain plus P. This is a plus P bullet. This is the Hornady Defense 200 grain plus P hollow point. This particular bullet, it's almost up there. It's giving you 494 foot-pounds of energy. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to move it up there because it's almost at 500. So we're going to put anything over like 450 pounds up there. So I'll put that one there. Okay. So that bullet is going to be 494 foot-pounds of energy. I'm going to move this a little here for you. Okay. So like I say, Winchester white box, 230 grain, 356. Remington UMC. This would be like a jacketed hollow point like Walmart, like 356. We have the Winchester Ranger T at 400, 230 grain, law enforcement round. We have the Hornady 200 grain plus P, jacketed hollow point, and that's giving us 494 foot-pounds of energy. Now we'll go to the next one, which is the Hornady. Now this is the Gold Dot, I'm sorry. This one here is the Gold Dot 200 grain plus P. Okay, that's your grain, your spear, jacketed hollow point, 200 plus P, and this particular bullet here is going to be up even higher because this is giving you 518 pounds of energy. So we've got 356, we've got 400, 494, 518 foot-pounds of energy. So now let's go back to the next one here, which is the Winchester Super X Silver Tip 185 grain jacketed hollow point. Okay, this is your Winchester Super X bullet, and it's a 185 grain. It's going 365. So we'll move that down. Okay, so it's going down here into the 300 ranges. Okay, and then here we have the Ranger T400. We'll put them both up there. We'll put the Hornady up there, 494. The Spear Gold Dot 518. This goes back down to 361. It's the 185 grain bullet now. Now it's not a 230 grain bullet. It's a 185 grain bullet, and it's giving you more than these 230 grain bullets. Just want to let you know that. Okay, so the next one we're going to go to is a Gold Dot, and this is a 185 grain Gold Dot, Spear Gold Dot, 185 grain. This particular one is not a plus P, but this is, Gold Dot is giving you 453. So we're going to move that up there too. So that's 453. And we'll put them kind of together here so you can see this here. There. Put them together, just showing you which bullets are kind of like, you know, the most powerful here. Okay, so we got 518, 400, 494. This is like 400, and the other one is 453. So there's a wide range of these bullets as far as hitting power that they'll do. Now if you go into the next one, which is the Zombie Max ammunition, the Zombie Max is giving you 300, and I even got it written down, 330 foot-pounds of energy. So that's kind of down there with those. The next one is going to be your Federal HydroShock, and that's giving you 412. So we'll put that in there with this one here, the Federal HydroShocks. Those are pretty good. And this is the last one, which is a 90 grain bullet, which doesn't fall into any of these classes. But this is a RBCD, which is supposed to be a fragile, or whatever they call it. It's supposed to fragment on contact with materials and stuff like that. But it's a 90 grain. This gives you 828 foot-pounds of energy. So it, by far, it's for the specifications, they're saying this is probably the best bullet. So we'll group them here, and we'll go, this one here is 828 foot-pounds of energy. It's a 90 grain bullet going over 2,000 feet per second. Then you're moving into these two, which are 400 and a 518 respectively, out of these 200 grain bullets. Okay. Then you're going to move down to these two 230 grain bullets, which are 356. Okay. And then you would actually, these are kind of all classed together. And then these other two, the Super X Silver Tip is at 361, and the Zombie Max is at 330, so we could kind of group those all together for bullet-wise. There's not very much difference between each other. And then, of course, don't forget you're going in different weights, too. Then we'll go into the your Ranger T, which is 400, your Gold Dot, which is 453, and then you have your Federal HydroShock, which is 412. So after looking at these, you know, you're definitely looking at probably the best bullet would be your Gold Dot 200 plus P right now. The Gold Dot 200 plus P is 518 foot-pounds of energy. As far as for a non specialized blended metal bullet, over by far this is the most power out of this 828, this blended bullet, this RBCD. But if you're going to go with a conventional bullet, the Gold Dot 200 plus P is 518 foot-pounds of energy, or the Hornady is 494. They're really neck and neck in there. Those are pretty bullets. So it really depends on what you want to use in your gun, what type of round. They make a lot of different rounds of bullets and types. Of course, these have the nickel cases. They're not gonna stain or something from oil in your fingers. These are just your brass cases. I'm gonna just bring this up a little, and I just want to compare it to some other pistol ammunition here. Let me show you real quick here. All right, these are all pistol ammunition. I'm not getting into revolver ammunition. I wanted to compare these right here for the people that maybe haven't seen them. I'm going to do a little close up here. Let's pull this down. Adjust the camera here. Okay. Now these rounds here, what we have, this is a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. This is a 300 grain bullet. Here you have the Desert Eagle 50 Action Express bullet. That's what usually used in the Desert Eagle. Both of these bullets, the Smith & Wesson 500 and the Desert Eagle 50 AE, are 500 Magnum. Okay, one has a little bit more powder in it. As you can see, the cartridge is longer, but the diameter is the same. This one here is a 44 Remington Magnum. This actually is a revolver cartridge, but I did want to put it in there to show you. Some of the Desert Eagles will use the 44 Magnum. That's kind of why I included it. And here's a 9mm. This is your 9mm regular hollow point. I think this is a Remington load here. Okay. And I wanted to show you that. So, in comparison, you know, let's back them up. You're kind of pale. You know, it's if you're looking at the 45 in these bullets in comparison to these bigger ones. But overall, like I say, the RBCD 90 grain bullet, and like I say, this is a blended metal technology, they say, and this is supposed to be hitting with 828 foot-pounds of energy your target. And the bullet's made to actually fragment when it hits a hard source, but when it hits flesh or something, it's actually blows some pretty good holes. And I haven't really taken it out the range to try it, but eventually I will. And like I say, then your two 200 plus P bullets, your Hornady and your Gold Dot, are the leader of the pack in these. Corbon makes some 500 and stuff like that. You know, it's a little pricey, but you know, for what you're doing, I really think the Gold Dots, probably I would go with the Gold Dot or the Hornady. Gold Dots are expensive enough, and 200 grain plus P jacketed hollow point, or like I say, the 200 plus P jacketed hollow point Hornady. Hornady makes a pretty good bullet too. But I just wanted to show that to you guys. If you have any questions or comments, you know, just feel free to shoot me a little question. There's a lot of different bullets, and you know, classifying them into different classes. Like I say, you stick with the 200 plus Ps. Those are pretty high power bullets. Like I say, you could go with the Ranger T. You can go with that too. You know, that's a good bullet too. The Ranger T's, you know, it's a good bullet. It's a 400. That's a 400 foot-pound bullet. It's 230 grain. That's zipping right through there too. It's a law enforcement, so a lot of people, you know, they swear by that too. But I just wanted to show you that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to just post one. Thanks a lot.